All right, guys, so these were the questions we weren't able to get to in class. So what we're going to do is quickly go over them, and here's how they go. So first we need to start off with labeling which of these two are equation 1 and equation 2. So this is going to be equation 1, this one's going to be equation 2. Looking at the two of them, we have x plus y equals 7 and 3x minus 2y equals 12. The x on equation 1 is much easier to isolate, so we're going to start with that one. So we're going to isolate x in 1. And how we're going to do that is simply just moving the y plus 3, the 3y, over to the other side. So we end up getting x equals 7 minus 3y. So far, so good. The next part, what we're going to do is sub x in equation 2. So what we have here is 3x minus 2y equals negative 12. Where the x was, we're going to replace it with 7 minus 3y, which will give us negative 12. Oh, sorry, minus 2y. Minus 2y equals negative 12. We're going to distribute, so we get 21 minus 9y minus 2y equals negative 12. We get negative 11y minus 21 minus 12 minus 21. We get negative 21 equals negative 33. Divide both by negative 11. And we get y equals 3. So that's our first point of our POI. What we're going to do next is solve for y. So we're going to solve for x. We're going to find x. Using the equation we had before, x equals 7 minus 3y. We're going to replace our y with the value we found, which was 3. Get x equals 7 minus 9. X equals negative 2. Therefore, our POI is going to be negative 2. Sorry, guys, just need to put on my do not disturb, and 3. So that's the first one. Our steps are isolate. So first step, label. Second step, isolate a variable. Third step, sub in the variable. Last step, find the other variable. There's our POI. And if you want, you can make a fancy little box around it. I like making fancy little boxes that usually connect. Not that time. Okay, let's move on to the next one. So a lot of people are asking for 2D. So first off, we're going to be like any of these guys. We're going to label them 1 and 2. Looking at these, none of them are going to give me nice, neat ones without decimals. But, to be honest, this one here is going to give me a nicer decimal with the 1 than this guy is. Because we know 2 and 6 have a common factor of 2. 1 doesn't, but 0.5 is easy to deal with, unlike the craziness that will be on this side. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to isolate y in 1. So I have 6x minus 2y plus 1 equals 0. I have negative 2y equals negative 6 minus 1, because I brought this and this over to the other side. What I'm going to do next is divide both sides by negative 2. I get left with y on this side is positive 3x here, plus 0.5. Comes out to a nice whole number, so I'm just going to keep it that way. What I'm going to do next is sub y into equation 2. This may not fit all here, but we'll try it out. So we have 3x minus 5y plus 7 equals 0. Replacing my y, what I have here, which is 3x plus 0.5 plus 7 equals 0. So 3x minus 15x, because I'm distributing in, minus 2.5 plus 7 equals 0. I'm going to bring the like terms together. I get 12x equals negative 4.5. How I get that is 7 minus 2.5 gives me 4.5, and then bringing it over to the other side gives me negative 4.5. I'm going to divide both sides by 12, and x is going to give me, let me see what I get here. And that's going to give me 0.375. Again, there's no need to round or anything because these are straight numbers. It's not going to modify anything. There's no extra decimals afterwards, so that's fine to leave like that. What I'm going to do now is I need to go and find the other variable. I need to go find y. I'm going to use our equation where we've already rearranged things. I'm then going to replace our x with what we found, which is 0.375. I'm going to multiply 3 by that number, and I'm immediately going to, in my calculator, add 0.5, which gives me, sorry, I made a mistake here, so let me just quickly fix it. I negated to remember my negative. So this is negative, and this is negative. So remembering that we need to always maintain our negatives, please make sure you're keeping an eye on those. I did not. I'll just become positive. I made a mistake over here. So negative 12 divided by negative 12, negative 4.5 divided by negative 12, those two still becomes positive, ironically. I made a mistake, but it fixed itself. Always check your signs. Add 0.5 right away. Get 1.625 for y. So therefore your POY is 0.75 and 1.625. Here's one other question from 2 you guys wanted me to look over, which is this guy. So first we're going to label. And then we're going to look. Anyone that's going to give us nice clean numbers. Not really. So it looks like we're going to be dealing with some fractions. Personally, I like fractions over 2, so I'm going to deal with this guy. And I'm going to isolate for D. So I'm going to isolate D in number 1. So I have 3C plus 2D equals negative 24. 2D minus 24 minus 3C. I'm going to divide both sides by 2. D equals negative 12 minus 3 over 2 C. Okay, so once I've isolated, we're going to sub in. So we're subbing D into 2. When we do that, we're going to have 2c plus 5d equals negative 38. 2c plus 5, we're going to bring over that information, what d was, negative 12 minus 3 over 2c equals negative 38. So let's continue out with this. We have 2c plus 5 times by negative 12, which gives us negative 60, so I need a negative 60 minus, so top and bottom we multiply out, so that's going to give us 15 over 2c, which equals negative 38. We're going to start collecting like terms. So if we're putting 2 over 2, it would be 4 over 2. So 4 over 2 minus 15 over 2c is going to give us negative 11 over 2c. 38 plus 60 on this side. Get negative 11 over 2c equals 60 minus 38, which gives us 22 on this side. What we're going to do, if we have something on the bottom and something on the top, we need to multiply out the bottom to get rid of it, and divide it by the top. And those will cancel each other out. So if you notice here, the 11 will cancel each other out, and the 2 will cancel each other out. So on the other side, I'm going to multiply it by the exact same thing. Multiplied by 2 divided by negative 11. So C is going to equal 44 over negative 11, which gives us negative 4. So that's our C. It's not clean, it's not an easy process, but if you follow the same steps for everything, you will get to the end properly. It might just take a bit longer and a bit more algebra to figure it out. Our next step, as always, is to find the other variable. In this case, find D. I'm going to use the equation that we've already deconstructed. So D equals negative 12 minus 3 over 2C. I'm then going to sub in what C is, what we found it to be, which is negative 4. And we're going to start multiplying stuff out. So we've got negative 4, negative 12, plus, because negative and negative gives us 12 over 2. Negative 12 over 2. I already wrote the answer on the bottom. There we go. Negative 12. 12 over 2 gives us 6. Negative 12 plus 6 gives us negative 6, which equals D. Therefore, our POI is negative 4 and negative 6. How I dealt with this and which one to put forward, I always just put the C first and the D second, just by alphabetical order. It will work for you. And that is question 2E. Now, you guys also asked about 4. That was a common question. So let's go over what it's asking. So it's telling us that there's a perpendicular line drawn from 4, 2 to the line at y equals x. So it's perpendicular to yx. And it goes through 4 and 2. Find the point of intersection between those two lines. So this one, we haven't been given our second line in the equation per se. So our first step is going to be to find the equation of the perpendicular line. So if we remember correctly, our m from this one is 1. Our M perpendicular is its negative reciprocal. So the negative reciprocal of 1 over 1 is 1 over 1 negative. So it's going to be negative 1 being our slope for this perpendicular line. So when we're filling out in our y equals mx plus b, for this line that we don't know, we can replace now our m with negative x plus b. The next thing we need to do is find our b. And to find the b, the first one was finding our slope. And to find our b, we're going to use that point that they gave us. We know that this line goes through 4, 2. So we're going to replace our y and our x with 4 and 2. So again, we have y equals negative x plus b. We're now replacing the information. So our y becomes 2. Our x becomes negative 4 plus b. We rearrange and we solve. So we end up having 2 plus 4 on this side equals b. 6 equals b. Oops, sorry guys. Little slip of the hand there. And therefore, the line that we've been looking for is x, negative x plus 6. So now we have two equations. So our next part of this question, or part 2, is find the POI of the two lines. So our line 1 is the line that the equation gave us, which is y equals x. Our line 2 is y equals negative x plus 6. Now they're both already isolated for either one. So it doesn't matter which one we choose, we can just sub in whatever we want. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sub 1 into 2. They're already isolated for a variable, so it doesn't matter which one I choose. I just felt like choosing the other one, so I'm going to write out our equation 2 as y equals negative x plus 6. I'm going to sub in where y is, the other one, so I'm going to have x there equals negative x plus 6. I'm going to bring the other x to the other side, so I get x plus x equals 6. I get 2x equals 6. I'm going to divide the 2 out, and I get x equals 3. Now that I have that, next step is find y. Okay? What I'm going to do is I'm going to use equation 2. Actually, I'm just going to use equation 1 because that's easier. Y equals x. I'm going to replace x with 3. And lo and behold, y equals 3. So therefore, our POI, where these two lines cross, is 3 and 3. The main problem with this one probably was the way it was worded. You didn't see your second equation. You had to find your own second equation. So that was step 1. That's the first part of the question. The second part of the question was actually going out and finding the POI. So if you don't have an equation yet, your second equation, what most likely is asking you is to create your second equation. And that's what we need to do for this one. So we found our second equation of the perpendicular line that goes through 4 and 2. And it's perpendicular to y equals x. Got that. Then we went to go find our POI. We stated what our two equations were. We made sure they were isolated, which they were. Excellent. We subbed 1 into 2, solved for x, and then found y. And our POI is 3 and 3. And so those are the questions that you guys wanted me to take up. I'm going to post these online as well as these sheets so you can look over them as well. All right, have a good afternoon, guys.